Hello and welcome to the video. Once again, my name is Wade Daniel Smith, and in this video, I'm discussing the paper, scissors, rock effect of who beats who in martial arts sometimes. Whenever I was testing for black belt, I could in fact beat Matt Griga, who was a second degree black belt who was testing for his third degree black belt at the time. I could beat him in sparring one-on-one by then pretty consistently, and sometimes I could even beat him in a one-on-two handicap match. And he was, in fact, incredibly skilled and should have been a third-degree black belt by then. My biggest advantage over him was actually speed because I was a middleweight and circuit training 20 plus hours a week, whereas he was a 235-pound natural heavyweight. But the fact that I could beat him doesn't say what his real limit was, say, against other heavyweights, because heavyweights are actually better against other heavyweights sometimes than they are against smaller fighters. And let me explain why he's like that. Matt, in addition to Isshinryu, he actually knew all 800 submission points on the human body. He studied Jeet Kune Do and he studied human anatomy. And, whenever I became a brown belt and second degree brown belt, before I got good enough to start beating him one-on-one, I learned very quickly that if you throw a punch or kick at him, you better not leave it out in space at all, because he will counter block or counter attack your arm or leg and hit you in one of these pressure points in your muscle groups or a nerve ending. And when he hits it correctly, which he does about 90% of the time, is how precise his blocking and counter striking is. Because if he counterattacks you, the first thing he's going to do is counterattack your weapons. He's not even going to go for your face at first. He's going to counterattack your arm or leg when you throw a punch or kick at him. That's how he fights. And so you better not throw a hook punch or a roundhouse kick, because that is going to get countered and counterattacked. It's going to get blocked and counterattacked, and he's going to hit you in one of those nerve endings or pressure points in your muscle groups or somewhere else. And once it happens, your arm or leg goes dead for about a good 5 to 10 seconds before it recovers. And I can guarantee you that a 235-pound second-degree black belt, who's really supposed to be a third-degree black belt, will finish you off like it's no tomorrow in 5 to 10 seconds of one of your limbs being totally limp from having a pressure point hit on it. And for that reason, even though I could beat Matt by staying to the outside and sticking to straight punches and kicks and working my angles and whatnot and relying on speed back then anyway, I would not be able to beat Brock Lesnar, at least not without killing the guy somehow. But Matt actually could, because Matt is faster than Brock Lesnar, and Matt actually knows way more submissions than Brock Lesnar. And Matt would be able to beat somebody like Brock Lesnar without even seriously hurting him, because if Brock tried to throw some kind of hook punch or kick at Matt or shoot in on him, he would get counter punched and hit in one of those submission points, and his arm or leg would go limp just like a middleweight does. And once he goes limp and can't even stand up, Matt would easily finish him off in 5 to 10 seconds with strikes to the face. All right. And so, yes, there's a paper, scissors, rock effect in who beats who, especially across different weight classes. A faster fighter who is more skilled can beat a bigger fighter. A fighter who's in the middle range can beat somebody that the lighter fighter is not strong enough to even hurt. All right. Because Brock is a 265-pound natural heavyweight. He has to cut weight almost to anorexia to weigh in when he fights in the UFC, because he's actually a couple pounds bigger at his natural weight than the limit, because they don't have a super heavyweight division in the UFC. So when he fights in the UFC, he literally has to go anorexic for a while to cut enough weight to weigh in at the limit of 265. Is how much weight he has to cut to make weight. But Matt was a natural 235 pounder, and I can promise you, once he deadens your arm here, or deadens your leg, and then you can't use your arm or leg, he will finish you off like that, no matter how good you think you are. And so for that reason, there's a paper, scissors, rock effect in who beats who in sparring, or even full contact or no rules fighting. The only chance whatsoever that I would have against somebody like Brock Lesnar would be a groin kick and just kick him in the groin as many times as I could and run away every time or something. And that might not even work against him because, he's got huge legs and thighs, which would protect him from getting hit full power in the groin. So, and good stance control, ridiculously good stance Brock has. So, and also his legs are built stronger than, anybody even realizes. So, like, the forward angle kick or side kick to the knee might not work against him after all. I would have to actually try it on the guy, which if it did work, of course, it's going to maim him. And if it didn't work, I'm going to get my face pounded in trying to do it. So it's kind of like live by the sword, die by the sword there. Because at his weight class, he only needs one hit in your face, and it's going to absolutely break something in your face and knock you out. So you better not get hit by him in a real fight, or you're done for. But anyway, that's the paper, scissors, rock theory of who beats who in any martial art, especially something like karate or whatever, or one style versus the other. Matt had enough power to hurt Brock as a 235-pounder, and he had the technique to stop Brock without necessarily relying entirely on power. And so for that reason, I think Matt could beat someone like Brock Lesnar in a one-on-one by UFC rules without even permanently injuring him. By relying on pressure point striking, which is the style of fighting he did. Because when he started studying that stuff, because some of it's tested in third-degree black belt in Isshinryu, and some of it he was getting from Bruce Lee and Jeet Kune Do, and some of it he was getting from studying medical anatomy journals and books. And when he got to where he was like that, he literally attempts to attack your arm or leg before he attacks your face, because he wants to deaden your arms or legs before he goes for your face. All right, and so that's how he fights.